So we've now been asked by the examiner to hook up to the trailer as if you've never seen it before. So what we need to do, first of all, is to make sure that the air lines and electrical connections are compatible with the trailer, which we know they are on this one. Secondly, make sure that the fifth wheel handle is in the prime position, which is something like that. Okay, next, making sure that the height of the trailer and the tractor unit are roughly the same, which they are. We'd adjust that in the cab if necessary. Checking that there's no locks on the airline. It would be on this one here if there was, and there's no lock on the kingpin, which is that little circly thing there. Now we're checking all the reflectors and lights on the front of the trailer, and there's no damage or anything like that on the headboard. Okay, now as we go down the side of the trailer, we're just looking for any kind of damage, so we use that top, middle, bottom routine all the way throughout this. So top, no damage; middle, no damage; bottom, no damage. Now each light we've got, it's a good idea to give them a polish, make sure they're not cracked or damaged. Check the trailer legs that they're not bent or damaged, and that they are sat on nice, firm and secure ground, which they are. Now we've got the guardrails. They are locked in place with the chain, and they're secure. You could tap them or kick them if you need to make sure that they are okay, which they are. Another reflector and light, so we just make sure they're not cracked or damaged, and then we can do another top, middle, bottom at this point. So we've got a big box here, we could call it a safe box or a storage box, that's locked and secure. So now we've got our spray suppression, which is basically equivalent to mud guards. You've got the light on there, so we'll give that a polish. Okay, and it's not broken or damaged. Spray suppression is secure and not loose. Okay, and it's intact. Now we go for our first wheel tyre. So tread depth wants to be at least 1 millimetre across 3/4 of the width of the tyre. Now that can either be that 3/4 or that 3/4 or that 3/4. Whereas on car it's centre 3/4, which means that. So don't get that confused with the lorry tyre. Now we're looking at the side of the tyre tread. Make sure there's no cuts or bulges or any kind of damage. You don't want to rub your hand along the tyre, because if there's any glass stuck in the tyre, you'll end up cutting your hand. So visual check on the wheel nuts. They look okay. Now some, if you notice one was slightly loose, there'd be a tiny little bit of a gap, or the ends of the thread would actually be smaller than its neighbour one, if that makes sense. Okay, on a wet day you could probably notice kind of wet rusty dribble marks off there, but obviously here we're okay. But that's a little clue that we can use. Underneath each axle you've got an airbag, which is for the suspension. Make sure it's inflated, and obviously if it is deflated, it needs fixing, and the trailer needs to be defected. So we know what to do for each trailer. I think I forgot to say 1 millimetre of tread. Yeah. Yes, 1 millimetre of tread. So we've got that on that as well, and then there's another airbag. Let's check the wheel nuts. That's okay. Now we can kind of look at the tyres. They look quite straight at the bottom, whereas if they were kind of a little bit sad or bulging out at the bottom, then you'd know that you had a slow puncher or a flat tyre, one or the other. So another reflector, so we'll check that. Not broken, secure. Check top, middle and bottom. No damage. Box is secure and locked. And we've got our reflectors. Now we go to the back of the trailer. We're checking our lights, that they're not broken or damaged, which they're not. Check our rear door is secure, and at this point you might want to check your load if you had one. Look at the top of the trailer, you've got your marker lights. Just make sure they're not damaged or cracked, which there's quite a bit of protection on these ones. Okay. You probably wouldn't want to put your number plate on just yet, because we still need to make sure the trailer is perfectly okay to hook up to, but for training purposes we just leave it on. So we go round the corner and we make sure that the suspension control is facing downwards, which it is, facing down. This is what we call the normal road height position. If you wanted to lift it, you could do that, or to lower it, you could do that. That's only if you need to go onto a loading bay that needs that to happen. Another reflector, top, middle, bottom. Wow, that's bright. Underneath here, somewhere on your trailer, will be a manufacturer's plate. It must have that. It tells you all the weights, the date of manufacture, etc, etc. Okay, so we'll carry on looking at the boxes, and that is safe and secure, and you know what to do with the tyres. But don't forget, there's an airbag behind there for each wheel. Okay, wheel nuts are fine. Make sure you check them. Airbag again on the next axle, and then again wheel nuts, tyres, bulges, cuts, tread, lights, spray suppression, just like the other side basically. And then you've got a storage box, locked and secure. Your side impact rail, guardrail, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. That's secure, locked, it's not going to move. You can check it if you want to. Reflector light. Okay, so this is where we look at this. We must ensure that we have our VTG6 plate, a Vosa or ministry plate, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing, but it's definitely there. Okay, now check the landing legs, landing gear legs. The handle is secure and it's not going to fall off and hurt somebody on the road. So we'll continue checking the rest of the front of the trailer, including the front corners where damage could happen on corners, and then another light. And then the last thing you want to do before hooking up to the trailer, get myself out of the picture, is checking that the parking brake is on by pulling it gently. And that's your trailer check. Now you're free to be able to hook up the tractor unit with the trailer. Okay, into reverse. Make sure it's in R1 on the screen. Yeah, okay. So all round observations. Okay, and then when it's safe, release the handbrake and slowly go back. And as you're doing that, press the down button on the suspension. You can stop if you want. That's it. Nice and gently until the front of the trailer is just covering the second mudguard. Roughly about that. So now the fifth wheel is underneath the trailer, and what you're going to do is raise the suspension. Oops, son. Keep raising it. So then that will lift the legs off the floor. So if there's any slight movement, like left or right, it's not going to damage the legs of the trailer. That'll do, thank you. So nice and gently, reversing a bit more, until you hear two clonks. And it'll be like clink, clonk, like that. At this point, you'd leave the handbrake off, okay, because it's not going to go anywhere. So now you've got to do two strong tug tests. So if you go into forward gear, into number one, okay, nice sharp acceleration as if you're trying to drive off. That's one. Then again, that's two. Perfect. Handbrake on into neutral. And then engine off. Okay, so what we've done now is we've reversed back the kingpin The fifth wheel handle is moved and the kingpin has engaged. We've done the 2 tug tests, so now all we need to do is the black backwards, which is KCALB. So now the kingpin's done its job, so that's K done. Now it's the C for the clip, which is going to be expertly put on here now. That's it. That'll stop the fifth wheel handle from moving forward. Now the reason we do that is if you look underneath, there's a spring, and these springs can break, and that's obviously something that we don't want to happen. So now we go to the airlines. And gonna open the side fairing when he's got his gloves on. Three points of contact as you climb the trailer onto the catwalk, and there's a little system where we want to work away from us towards us. So, probably worth starting off with the electrical lines. Tell you what, I'll pause this one. When you've plugged the electrical one in, that's when the lights come on, which you can just see there. So it's probably a good idea to give it a slight wiggle to make sure that it doesn't flicker. But that would indicate a loose connection. Okay, so now we're going to the next one, which is the airline. And as you can see, you hold the collar back and you give it a nice sharp push forward until it engages like that, and then you'll pull the that's it, the collar round. Hey, we've lost our little nipple thing.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Yeah. Well, it's actually one that I want to replace, so it's not a problem. It's fine. That's in. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Next, we'll do the service airlines. And then twist the actual collar itself, that's it, and then we can put the ABS airline on. Sorted. Once you've done that, you take your 3 points of contact on the handles as you come off the catwalk, looking both ways to make sure there's no traffic that's about to run you over. Like so. Once you come off the catwalk, you want to close the side fairing. Okay, then so that's KCA. Now it's L, which stands for legs. And a nice little way we can think about this, that's one way of getting it out. As we're driving the trailer away, it's best to face the way you're going. It's very important to remember that we need to lift the legs all the way as far as they go. That ensures that there's no damage to the road or the legs themselves. Also, if you get pulled over by the DVSA, you may end up with fine. Nearly there. Yeah. So it's acceptable to go back half a turn. If you pull it back out again and go back one turn, that's tightening it, so go back, that's it. Now we can hook it into the handle. That's acceptable. Okay, so we've done everything except for the B, for the black, which stands for brake, which is the red handle. So if you're happy that the trailer is secure and it's okay, roadworthy to go, then we can put the handbrake off. So push the red button in, That's the handbrake for the trailer. Now you want to wait 10 seconds to detect any movement. Now the best thing to do is look at the rear axle on your trailer, on your truck, and any movement would indicate that the handbrake the handbrake in the unit is actually off, which you'd instantly pull the handle back out again, the red button, to apply the trailer brakes once again. Now we're going to check alongside, making sure that all our lights are working, which they are at the moment. Flashing. Don't forget your number plate light, which we can just see is slightly illuminated, and any side markers that you might have on the top, which they're okay. Also alongside this side of the trailer, which they're all working. Now on your 3A, your mod 3A test, this is where you'd say to the examiner, I would like, the trailer's loaded and the load is secure, can you help me check my brake lights? And of course he'll oblige. So if you go back into your tractor unit and you'll turn the hazards off and then wait for further instruction. Obviously you'll need the indicator, you'll need the ignition on. Okay. That's it. Okay, so now he's done that, we're now ready for the road. Thank you for watching.